Today we celebrate the memorial of Father John Therry. But who was this man and what was he really like?
Well, Father John Therry was a very interesting character. He had been described as being simple and unselfish, popular, energetic and restless, rugged and uncompromising. And because of his determined nature, he apparently had fights with almost every priest that served him.
Father John Therry is considered one of the founders of the Catholic Church in Australia. He worked tirelessly to establish the Catholic religion during the time of the British colonial rule. He was a young 30-year-old priest when he landed on Australian soil on the 20th of May, 1820. He always considered this day a special occasion and would celebrate this day for the rest of his life by giving cakes to his parishioners.
He built churches wherever he went. He laid the foundation stone for St. Mary's Cathedral and built churches in South Strathfield, Appin and Hobart.
Although Father Therry was mindful of the authority of the British colonial system, he worked endlessly to improve the conditions of the poor and the disadvantaged. He fought for justice and better conditions for the convicts, women, children and Aboriginal people, and for the education of the poor. This of course was often met with opposition, and on one occasion it led to his official status being withdrawn. He encouraged Caroline Chisholm in her work and built schools for the poor wherever possible.
He was devoted to duty and serving his people.
Father Therry travelled the country on horseback, caring for his people, and regardless of the weather, he would often say Mass in Sydney and then travel on horseback to Parramatta for a second Mass that day. Would sometimes be fasting at this time.
He made a point of having a horse saddled at the door, so that he rode in with a tired horse and there was a message for the sick call, he could jump on a fresh horse and race off to the sick call. Sometimes he got through 3 or 4 horses a day.
There is a story of him being pulled by a rope across a flooded river because there was a man dying who wanted the last rites. He would do anything to help those who needed him.
Another story is of when he was running to Government House because he had found evidence of the innocence of a man who was about to be hanged. Father Therry got to the man with seconds to spare and he was set free.
He would strive to be with convicts at their executions. One time he travelled 300 kilometres in 3 days to be with one man. The last 80 kilometres on foot as his horse was sick.
He also formed a lasting interest in the Aboriginal people who became very attached to him. He pleaded the cause of their education to Governor Darling, and he would always feed the Aborigines who camped at the bottom of his yard.
Even bushrangers loved Father Therry and would let him pass on his travels. He was a hero to his people.
Father Therry was a man of action and a man of prayer. His boldness often landed him in trouble, but his genuine care and love for people was acknowledged and appreciated.
A legend in his own lifetime, he died on the 25th of May 1864 at St. Augustine, where he was the parish priest. He was so loved that his funeral was certainly the most numerously attended ever seen in Sydney to that date.
His remains are now in the crypt of St. Mary's Cathedral.
We are so proud to have our school named after this great man, and may we, as students of Father John Therry School, continue his legacy of faith, justice and trust.